All right, welcome to Avita Yoga and A Course in Miracles. I'm going to let you pick a shape or a position that feels good to you, and I'm going to read from lesson number 130. It is impossible to see two worlds. It's the perfect follow-up to the previous lessons. The world I see with my eyes holds nothing that I want, and beyond this world that I see with my eyes is a world that I want, and now we're being told it's impossible to see two worlds. In the first paragraph, it says, perception is consistent. What you see reflects your thinking. Now, whenever the Course uses the word perception, it means perception with our eyes. Perception is consistent. What you see reflects your thinking, and your thinking but reflects your choice of what you want to see. Now, right away, this is where people say, no, wait a minute, I didn't want to see that crime. I don't want to see that news. I didn't want to see this devastation. On the surface, we have perception. Just below perception, we have emotions. Just below emotions, we have thoughts. And just below thoughts, we have beliefs. So beliefs form our thoughts, and thoughts reinforce our beliefs. And from those, we have physical emotions. We have these feelings that come up in response to them. And it all is projected onto the screen of time and space that we know as the world and the bodies we see and sense and feel. So, what the Course is telling us here is that your thinking reflects your choice of what you want to see. Your values or your beliefs are determiners of this. For what you value, you must want to see, believing what you see is really there. If we just take a quick trip down a metaphysical path and consider all the fairly recent great work by the quantum physicists, and we have quantum mechanics, and this, if basically, if we just keep drilling down and get small enough, we go through, we get to the cellular, the molecular, and then the atomic level, and there's the parts that make up the atoms. And now, they're saying there's a whole bunch of particles that are smaller than atoms, and but none of it makes any sense. It's it just kind of seems to organize on its own, seemingly sometimes randomly. And so most scientists that do that kind of work would say there's nothing there. It's it's just it's just energy. Einstein himself, I believe it was he who said the universe resembles a thought more than a thing. And there's nothing more helpful than that. And that's what the Course is saying. See, it's all starting to line up here. Our thoughts and our beliefs are making, not creating, creation is up to God. Our thoughts and our beliefs are making a universe of time and space. And so it's asking us to look really, really deep. If if I'm in a sticky situation, or I'm watching news, or I'm seeing an event that I don't prefer, I don't think I prefer, I don't like, then I must look deeper and say, on some level, I want this. That is the gentle responsibility that we begin to take as honest, practicing students of the truth. No one can see a world his mind has not accorded value, and no one can fail to look upon what he believes he wants. So you've heard the idea, I'll believe it when I see it. Oh yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. Well, it's just as true here in the Course. It's telling us it's just as true that we see what we believe. So this is why we practice deeply. This is why we look at all of our values. And because it's impossible to see two worlds, one that's made of fear, one that's created from love, which do I want? Can't see them both simultaneously. It's always one or the other. And see, that goes back to the earlier lessons, number 16. There are no neutral thoughts. Okay, paragraph 2. Yet who can really hate and love at once? Here again, it's asking us to look. It's either one or the other. Who can desire what he does not want to have reality? A lot of good questions in this lesson. And who can choose to see a world of which he is afraid? What a great question. I must be choosing to see a world that I'm afraid of. Wow, and that's the whole thing. See, that's how clever the ego thought system is. We make up a world based on, see, just below belief, so it goes perception, emotion, thought, belief. Just below belief is desire. That's our truest, deepest prayer. And at the level of desire, it's either the decision to separate or join. And yoga joins. See, it's our yoga to look at all this stuff and forgive it and join in the oneness of pure undifferentiated love that we share. And from that, we realize that we realize actually the impossibility of choosing fear, and we begin to choose only from love, and that's the happy dream. The course tells us we're essentially required to go through the happy dream, and or the course calls that the real world or the forgiven world. So as we as we begin to see, not with the ego's fear and ideas of separate self, but from the idea of joined love and unity, then we start to see with Christ vision. Okay, you'll see that term in the course. We see with Christ vision. That leads to the forgiven world, the happy dream, and that's all the course asks of it. And because their happiness comes through, peace comes through, and we end up living God's will, which is perfect happiness or perfect peace. And who can choose to see a world of which he is afraid? Okay, fear must make blind. For this, its weapon is. Here's the weapon. That which you fear to see, you cannot see. That which you fear to see, you cannot see. Why? Because it doesn't exist. Love and perception thus go hand in hand, but fear obscures in darkness what is there. What then can fear project upon the world? What can be seen in darkness that is real? Nothing. Truth is eclipsed by fear. So when we get an eclipse of the sun, the moon moves in front of the sun and the light is obscured, and we get depending on where you are, it can be like night because the moon eclipses the sun. So truth is eclipsed by fear. And fear comes from the idea that we can separate and usurp God's power as a separate self. That's the root of all fear. And what remains is but imagine. Okay, so we just end up making it all up. Yet what can be real in blind imaginings of panic born? That sounds like Shakespeare. What can be real in blind imaginings of panic born? Nothing. What would you want that this is shown to you? Nothing. What would you wish to keep in such a dream? Nothing. Nothing comes from nothing. Fear has made everything you think you see with the eyes all separation. And it's not just with the eyes. So, we could lose the ability to see through our eyes, and still it's what we it's what we perceive with our five senses. It's the bodily world, the physical world. All separation, all distinctions, and the magnitude of differences you believe make up the world. They are not there. Love's enemy has made them up. Yet love can have no enemy, and so they have no cause, no being, and no consequence. Back to the introduction of A Course in Miracles. That which is all encompassing, God's perfect love, can really have no opposite. But sometimes it's helpful for us to think of fear as the opposite of love. We just have to keep coming back to the idea that all there is love, which is why it's all we need. Okay, yet love can have no enemy, and so they have they have no cause, no being, and no consequence. They can be valued, but remain unreal. They can be sought, but they cannot be found. Today we will not seek for them, nor waste this day in seeking what cannot be found. So this is referring to our seeking and trying to find happiness and justice in an ever-changing world of difference and separation, all made up by the ego thought system of separation and fear. It's basically saying, let's stop wasting our time. Let's stop looking there. Stop valuing it. It is impossible to see two worlds which have no overlap of any kind. It is one or the other. Seek for the one, the other disappears. That's the beauty. Once I seek from a place of lack and separation and fear, heaven disappears. But the moment I choose love, I choose heaven, I choose truth. How do I do that? I call on the Holy Spirit to forgive the fear thoughts and the fear emotions and the beliefs that lead to a made up world that is unjust. As I forgive that, the forgiven world is made plain to me, and now all I see is a world through the lens of love. It's not so much what we see, but how we see it. Okay, seek for the one, the other disappears, but one remains. They are the they are the range of choice beyond which your decision cannot go. The real and the unreal are all there are to choose between, and nothing more than these. All right, and so this is where we get down to real choice. What is the one real choice we have? What is the only choice we have but to choose love over fear? Moment by moment, instant by instant, the mind is choosing one or the other. And that's why it's our practice to go deep into the mind and work through the feelings, work through the things we see, work through the thoughts and the beliefs to get to the core where we realize we have true choice. See, there's this big shield of oblivion, but it's false and it can't hide the truth. And it will lead us perfectly if you consider a classroom and let it be a cookie crumb trail. One forgiving opportunity after another is presented. This is the Holy Spirit working through, giving us one forgiving opportunity, perfectly designed for our undoing. And as we forgive, We can be quickly drawn to the source, perfect love. They can be sought, but they cannot be found. Today we will not seek for them, nor waste this day in seeking what cannot be found. Okay, I already read that paragraph. Okay, today we will attempt no compromise where none is possible. The world you see is proof you have already made a choice as all-encompassing as its opposite. Okay, that's the entire universe. And the universe seems so boundless. All right. And so that's how clever and tricky the ego is. It's made this whole thing up, and then it reaches up and tries to pull God into it and say, look what you made, or look what you created. How would you do this? How could you do this to me? How could you do this to them? Meanwhile, God, not an old man with a beard, that's for sure. God, being perfect eternal love, has no idea any of this is going on. Why? Because it never occurred. It seems to go on for millennia, eons, but it was over the instant it seemed to begin. That's the trick of time. So we won't compromise where none is possible. What we would learn today is more than just the lesson that you cannot see two worlds. It also teaches that the one you see is quite consistent from the point of view from which you see it. It is all a piece. It is all a piece because it stems from one emotion and reflects its source in everything you see. Fear. All right, 6 times today. In thanks and gratitude, we gladly give 5 minutes to the thought that ends all compromise and doubt, and go beyond them all as one. We will not make 1,000 meaningless distinctions, nor attempt to bring with us a little part of unreality as we devote our minds to find only what is real. Now, in this day and age, there's this thing called fake news, but it's all fake. That's what this paragraph is saying. Let's not waste our time trying to pick through the details and find what's more true than another in a false world. Nothing. Watch the attraction to news, watch the attraction to the falsity, and and just say no. Say, no, I'm going to wean myself away from this irritating feed that just feeds my belief in something that doesn't exist and makes me unhappy and ends up putting all these horrible symptoms into my body and those around me. The ill effects of the ego. Begin your searching for the other world by asking for a strength beyond your own. There's the key. See, the personal self will fail at this because failure is its goal. So we want to find the truth by asking for a strength beyond our own and recognizing what it is you seek. You do not want illusions. And you come to these 5 minutes emptying your hands of all the petty treasures of this world. You wait for God to help you as you say, it is impossible to see two worlds. Let me accept the strength God offers me and see no value in this world, that I may find my freedom and deliverance. Participate willingly. Don't make it real. And above all, don't be afraid of it. Nothing has to change but our perception of it all. Keep all your relationships, keep your job, keep your stuff. Just put one kind foot in front of the other. Do your best not to make it real. And above all, don't be afraid of anything. There's nothing there. God will be there, for you have called upon the great unfailing power which will take this giant step with you in gratitude, nor will you fail to see his thanks expressed in tangible perception and in truth. Well, this is miracles coming through. The miracle will come through because we're choosing to see with Christ vision and not the ego. Ask for the miracle. Ask for where and how it can be applied, and watch for the signs and symbols. And we practice patiently, and we wait and we watch. Sometimes it can take a little while to turn a battleship around, and and the Holy Spirit knows all. It knows all the little strategic things that have to happen to wrap us into its arms and give us the deep guidance. This is where trust is the pillar, really, of all the characteristics of God's teachers. You will not doubt what you will look upon, for though it is perception, it is not the kind of seeing that your eyes alone have ever seen before. See, we start to see with our hearts. And you will know God's strength upheld you as you made this choice. Dismiss temptation easily today. So what is temptation but any desire to make the dream real? Dismiss any desire to make the dream real easily today whenever it arises, merely by remembering the limits of your choice, the unreal or the real, the false or true, is what you see and only what you see. Perception is consistent with your choice. We see what we want to see, and hell or heaven comes to you as one. It's always one or the other. Except a little part of hell is real, and you have damned your eyes and cursed your sight, and what you will behold is hell indeed. Yet the release of heaven still remains within your range of choice, always, to take the place of everything that hell would show to you. All you need to say to any part of hell, whatever form it takes, is simply this: it is impossible to see two worlds. See, no matter what the situation, I seek my freedom and deliverance, and this is not a part of what I want. I seek my freedom and deliverance, and this falsity that I see and seem to be experiencing is not a part of what I want. That's the prayer for today. There's always a better way. The choice for love just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and the reflection of it keeps coming through stronger and stronger and stronger. That's the strength that we want. It's where all of our safety lies. All right. Thank you so much. Namaste.